My name is Billy Harfosh, broadcasting from Star Worldwide Network Studios in beautiful Scottsdale, Arizona. You know, in life, you need somebody that's going to shake things up a little bit, somebody that's going to call out hypocrisy, somebody that's going to fight for freedom of speech, somebody that's going to bring humor to serious situations, and somebody that's going to stand up for the common man. Call it like it is. Somebody that's going to shine a light on all the bullshit. Somebody that's going to fight the machine. My guest today is that somebody. He's a viral sensation. He's a stand-up comedian. He is a man that I know loves this country. He is a man that has taken a lot of heat on the internet. He is a man that puts a smile on my face. And he is a man, most importantly, that stands for freedom. You can catch him at Stand Up Live in Phoenix on Sunday. I'd like to welcome Primetime Alex Stein, number 99 to the show. Alex, what's up, brother?
Well, thank you for having me. I really appreciate it. Billy, that was too nice of an introduction. I am gonna be there this Sunday in Phoenix, Arizona. So I'd love for all the Phoenix people to come out. But on a serious note, you gave me that glowing introduction, and everything about it was right. I mean, just the fact that I do love this country and I do get a lot of hate because we live in a weird world where it's like, if you're not controversial, if you're not pushing buttons, nobody's interested. So it is kind of a weird conundrum that I find myself in, always having to push the limits. Like recently, I had to go after the Dallas Police Department because they had a 14-year sergeant said that Thomas Brooks, the assassin, should have aimed better. So I called out the Dallas Police Department. My point is I'm always picking battles with bigger organizations than myself, and it can be very stressful sometimes, not trying to sound like a victim.
Well, you know, Alex, when I look at you and your career and all that you've done, I think about freedom of speech, and I keep bringing that up because it's such a central part to this show and a central part to our country and my heart. And then we look at what's happening in Europe. The European Union is now claiming that they have the right to censor Americans' political speech on social media. I'm sure you've heard about this. It's called the European Digital Services Act. What is your message to Europe as they try to shut us up over here in America?
Well, I'm not surprised. And I saw that UK does want to, they said that they would theoretically arrest Americans that speak out against policies in their own country. So I'm not surprised if you look at the fact that we're about to be in a world war. So if NATO said that they want to censor, free speech and end free speech because they want to supersede the Constitution, I think the United States government would sadly do that because that's how pathetic people are. Like Tim Walz talking about during COVID, how he wanted to stop misinformation. So none of the people that are in power currently actually respect the Constitution. So the idea that freedom of speech is going to be here forever and that it's just a guaranteed right, that's not the case anymore. I mean, it's pretty obvious that that's like their main goal is to shut us up any way possible. So I don't know. I'm very nervous. And all these other countries, I get reports on my tweets all the time that I said something bad in Germany or I said something bad in France. So Europe, they're screwed, and we're heading in that same direction, sadly.
Well, like, where is this thing going? I mean, you call AOC Big Booty Latina, freedom of speech. You crash these city hall, town hall, city meetings. You crash interviews, live interviews. All this stuff you've done, it's really a credit to our country that you can do this. I've lived all over the world. Even places like Canada and the UK, you probably couldn't be primetime Alex Stein.
I can do this in America, but I would not be able to go to a city council meeting in a foreign country. They would kick me out. People always say that. That's why a lot of my fans or people that like my content are overseas in Australia or the UK because they could never get away with it. So that's why I love America. America is still the greatest country on earth, even though, it's ran by satanic pedophiles and they're basically, replacing, the white population with illegal immigrants. Other than that, this is still a great place. It's just being ruined by a few people that are more interested in globalism than nationalism.
So you've been around a lot of politicians, as have I. Over the last 7 years, I've interviewed everyone from the White House on down. But give us a little glimpse. Let's look under the hood for a moment. I can't figure it out. Recently, Tulsi Gabbard said that she was asked who's actually running our government. And she said there's a cabal. She said the military industrial complex, the deep state. So in your estimation, like, who are these people? And no matter if there's a Republican or a Democrat in office, who actually runs our government?
Well, sadly, our government is being ran by unelected bureaucrats, basically like the CIA, FBI, and even more powerful people, these people that own these corporations. Because, the definition of fascism is a merger of corporation and state. And that's where we're at, where America's biggest industry is the military industrial complex. So it only benefits America whenever we get involved in geopolitical conflicts across the country. Across the world. So sadly, since that's our biggest export, Raytheon, Halliburton, General Dynamics, we're never going to stop having wars. And because every single politician in Washington, D.C. can literally be bought and sold for like $10,000, $20,000 in campaign donations, they'll do anything for these corporations. So once you have situations like that, where huge corporations can donate to politicians and influence their vote, those are the ones that are making the decisions. And that means that those are the unelected bureaucrats, whether they are actual government employees or just super powerful, wealthy business people. Those are the people that represent the deep state. And that's why all these wars are inevitable, because the people in power are getting paid. Listen, everybody on the right wants to fight a war just as much as everybody on the left. The only thing the left and right agree on is going and starting more wars. And the only reason that's possible is because we have a uniparty that is being run by these non-elected bureaucrats that actually control things. So it just makes you think that one side of the aisle, I hate abortion. One side of the aisle, oh, we love abortion, pro-choice. But when it comes to war and killing people, the Republicans love it and the liberals love it. And that's what pisses me off the most. So that is the deep state, the people that represent these organizations like the military, like these huge corporations that benefit from war and death. Those are the people who are calling the shots, not Joe Biden.
A lot happening here in Arizona. Alex Stein, you're going to be in Phoenix, Stand Up Live. You can get your tickets, phoenix.standuplive.com on Sunday. President Trump is going to be in Phoenix on Friday. And breaking news, I don't know if you've updated refreshed your feed there, but RFK Jr. is also going to be in Phoenix on Friday. And the reports are that he will be stepping down, suspending his campaign, possibly endorsing President Trump. I can't imagine that Trump is in Phoenix and RFK is in Phoenix, and that's some kind of a coincidence. What do you think is going to happen there? Could we see RFK Jr. as our next, I don't know, maybe Attorney General?
Well, he's going to be something. You know that Trump was interested in having RFK be involved in his campaign in 2016. I believe they met at Trump Tower. And it would be the best thing for RFK to drop out and just put his support behind Trump, because listen, I actually like RFK about his medical freedom stuff, but there's a lot of stuff about RFK's weird, about how he killed that bear and how he did some weird stuff with his babysitter. So I'm not saying he's a bad guy, but he admits that he's got a lot of skeletons in his closet, so he's never going to actually make it to president. He knew that. He knows it's a pipe dream. And at this point, he's just going to siphon off Donald Trump supporters that agree with him on his medical freedom stance. So we need RFK to actually bow out and support for Donald Trump. It'd be very important, I think, for the Trump campaign. But Billy, I love Trump. I think Trump, is the most popular politician that's in America. But I think they're going to rig the election again. I don't think they're going to let Donald Trump be president, even if he gets 80 million votes. They'll get 80 million and one vote to somehow win, because these people are just not trustworthy whatsoever. So I love Donald Trump. I think Donald Trump, is the best thing for our country. But I don't think the deep state, the people we were just talking about, are going to let Donald Trump win the 2024
So, Alex,
election.
does our country survive that again? We saw what happened January 6th. A lot of people, it seems like my last four guests have said the same thing. If Trump loses, there's going to be a big problem. Now, people on the left say that he won't, there won't be a peaceful transition of power. People on the right say, well, he's going to lose because, like you just said, the Democrats are going to figure out how to get one extra vote. Can the country as a whole, the populace, can we survive another one of these crazy elections and having people protesting and violence, et cetera, et cetera? It gets scary.
Well, we could definitely survive, but this is what they do. The people in power, they want us to constantly be fighting with each other, so we don't actually try to fix the problems that are causing us to fight. They have to just separate us versus Black versus Chinese, white versus black, Hispanic versus black. So, yeah, there will be some sort of probably riots in the street, whether Donald Trump wins or Donald Trump loses. There's going to be some sort of demonstration, and there's going to be people that probably get hurt from that demonstration. But the majority of people, we're going to be okay. We're not going to be able to afford to buy a single family home. We're going to barely be able to afford groceries, and the price of Big Macs are probably going to increase by 3 times, and the world will be financially harder. But I do think as a society, I think that we would make it. I mean, if we made it after 9/11, we made it after horrible things, like the show will go on, but it's just not going to be the best quality of life that Americans deserve.
Primetime Alex Stein, I can remember to this day the first time somebody sent me a YouTube link of you, and you were at one of these city council meetings, and I think you were dressed as a woman. You had like 15,000 masks on, and you were doing your whole thing. And I was like, who the hell is this guy? This guy's a genius. This guy's borderline genius. He's meeting the moment. This is exactly what we need in this moment, and he's going to go viral. Well, obviously, you went crazy viral. When did you know? This all happened during COVID. When did you know? When did you start to go to your local grocery store and everybody was like, it's him?
Well, I do get recognized usually in the airport. A lot of conservative people, I think they fly because they have jobs. That's the place where I get recognized the most. But I'm not some big celebrity at all. But this is the one thing when I kind of knew. I started doing city council meetings, and then people were like, oh, this is tiring. Like, you got to do something new. Then I started going to protests, and I started getting, assaulted at trans protests. And then, basically you just kind of keep making content, and you're going to just change. You're going to have reiterations of Primetime Alex Stein, even though that's kind of a character. Now I go and I confront politicians to their face, but it all started by going to city council meetings. So like a caterpillar that has to change into a butterfly, I have to constantly be changing. So I don't think that I've made it necessarily. I am very appreciative of all the people that support me and all the people that ask for a picture. But when did I notice the times were changing? When I started to kind of go to protests and that content started doing well. And then when I started kind of changing my content and it's still catching on, that's when I was like, oh man, I can do this. I can do and branch off and do different stuff and take different chances and still be successful as long as I'm being myself. And then I had to have usually some message behind. There has to be some method to the madness that I'm usually doing, some sort of political statement or social statement that I try to make with all my content. So as long as I was making a statement, even by going to protests or confronting politicians on Capitol Hill, calling girls big booty Latinas, because I actually had multiple viral videos. But when I called AOC a big booty Latina, it changed my life, Billy. Everybody started following me. So, I constantly have to be doing new things. So I don't ever feel like I made it.
Doesn't AOC? Okay, let's take the political hat off for just a second. Doesn't she have some sort of a sense of humor? I mean, she's probably, if you were out having a Bud Light with her.
Billy, she's better than some of these conservatives. At least we know that she's a loony leftist, right? She's not two-faced. That's the problem. You have these people like Dan Crenshaw that could have been a conservative icon. Everybody was behind him. But he's like a warmonger, and he's just losing support from his own party. At least AOC, we know she's a nut job, and she's true to herself. Yeah, I don't like her politics, but she's attractive. She's kind of funny. She puts on like a black accent. She does a Spanish accent sometimes. There's something about her that is entertaining and endearing more so than a lot of other politicians.
If you were single, would you date her? Could you put politics aside and date AOC?
Yeah. If I would date her, I'd have to do it for the Republic. If the government wanted me, if I had to date AOC, I'd be doing it for our country, for a matter of national security. But yes, I would if that was the
God's work. Okay, Alex Stein, we can't wait to see you on Sunday in Phoenix. Stand Up Live. Last two, real quick. So, did you really have the Tiger King Joe Exotic on your show recently? By the way, I want to give your show. Let me give your show a plug real quick. Tune into Prime Time with Alex Stein, Blaze TV. Did the Tiger King Joe Exotic call you from prison, or was that a deep fake?
No, that was real. Joe's a friend of mine. He calls into the show all the time. I think that's Joe Exotic's fourth time. He'll call into your show, Billy. You want Joe to call in?
I do.
I'll have him message you.
I do.
Yeah, I'll message him today. I'll get him to call in. You need to message him on his Instagram, but I'll tell him you're going to reach out. He would love to go on your show. He's in federal prison. Yeah, if he'll go on anybody's show, and I started having him on, I've interviewed him. I think I've had him on 5 times. So him and I are basically friends at this point. And he sends me messages on Instagram all the time. So Billy, I'll get him on. You need to get on the legend. And the Tiger King, he got screwed because that guy that said that he paid him to go kill Carol Baskin, that guy was on so much methamphetamine and crack. And that at the end of the day, I think they got Joe on cruelty to an animal. And I love animals. But you have to euthanize. You got a 1,200-pound lion. Sometimes you have to euthanize them, sadly. And I think that's what he got in trouble for, is not euthanizing them correctly. So at the end of the day, Joe is a wild, crazy guy, but he's a nice guy. And he does not deserve to rot in prison, considering he never got to enjoy any of his viral success. For every minute that show is a hit documentary, he's been locked behind bars. One
thing Kamala and Trump should agree on is they should both agree to pardon the Tiger King, Joe Exotic. I'll go on record. Okay, last one real quick. Are you Tucker Carlson's biological son? I know you've been asked this a million times, but honest to God, I think a little twinkle in your eye, I see it. Are you?
Well, Billy, the DNA test said that I was not. And, he used to work at the Little Rock Gazette. when my mom was in Fayetteville, Arkansas. So I still believe that he got her pregnant. But the DNA test, I think Tucker paid off the DNA testing facility to say that he's not my biological father. But I just say he's my biological stepdad, and then legally, I don't think he can sue me. So we're all good there.
I think you're entitled to the trust fund. There he is. Primetime Alex Stein. You are my hero. I love you so much. We'll see you Sunday. I want my audience right now. Sunday.
Come and say, hey, Billy, I hope you're there. Free tickets, VIP for you. Bring whoever you want to bring. I'll see you there.
We will be there. We'll see you Sunday. Alex Stein, you are doing God's work.
Too nice. All right, see you guys.
Broadcasting from Star Worldwide Networks in beautiful Scottsdale, Arizona. Like, subscribe, share. That was the guy right there. Primetime Alex Stein.